England's COVID-19 infections down 30% during national lockdown. Survey.
Here's a summary of the article.
2-minute read. London. COVID-19 infections have fallen by 30% during England's month-long national lockdown and the virus is now in retreat. A large-scale study of more than 100,000 volunteers showed on Monday. England began its second national lockdown on November 5 to curb rapidly rising infections and protect its health system. The country is due to return to a regional approach to restrictions from December 2. Levels of infection fell 30%, with 96 people per 10,000 infected between November 13 and November 24, according to interim results of the study by Imperial College London and Ipsos Mori. The last iteration of the research, carried out between October 16 and November 2, showed 130 infections per 10,000 people. The findings show cases were rising as the country entered lockdown, but this was followed by a decrease as national measures successfully lowered infection rates across the country, a statement issued by the Health Department said. Prime Minister Boris Johnson faced criticism over the decision to lock down from within his own party, where some said it was an unnecessary infringement on civil liberties. The reproductive number of the virus was estimated at 0.88, reinforcing data released on Friday which showed infection numbers were shrinking by between 0% and 2% every day. While the statement said the prevalence of the disease was still high, it showed a sharp decrease in several areas of northern England which are due to enter the toughest tier of restrictions next week.
This post received a score of 19,000, with an upvote ratio of 95%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Lockdowns are really only a temporary measure to get more long countermeasures in place. They should be using this time to build infrastructure for contact tracing, policies for quarantining and supporting people who should be quarantining, getting mask and HVAC considerations addressed, etc.
We have the best track and trace system ever, Microsoft Excel, where you can lose track of 16,000 cases for minimal costs.
I'll have you know our version of Excel lets us lose track of 65,536 cases at once.
Hold on, you guys track cases.
You guys have acknowledged that the virus is real.
There is a virus?
What's a virus?
How is a virus?
Finally, nobody ever asks how's virus.
It's thriving.
A year later and it's still news that, if people stay home, less people get sick, so fucking bored of it.
If you don't pay them, they go back to work. That's not gonna happen in the US.
What about Wales? Our recent lockdown was pretty short, and when I went into town yesterday it was as busy as a normal Christmas season.
Your lockdown was 1 week shorter than England's. The second wave UK lockdowns have been short.
Lockdown ends in 2 days, we're just gonna spike again with restaurants, schools etc open, winter hasn't even started yet, I hope a vaccine arrives very soon.
Make sure to be first in line for a haircut.
Been using a trimmer since March, it paid for itself several times.
I just embraced the long hair, it doesn't look too bad.
It's not gonna go down to zero right away, besides, people still go out and break the lockdown measure.
It's a very weak lockdown, from what I've seen.
3 households for Xmas though. Jan is gonna be rough.
That's assuming 3 households rule is obeyed. Several people I've talked to say they and their extended families will ignore it because who's gonna know? Personally, we definitely aren't ignoring it because my wife is 30 weeks pregnant. I am wondering whether I'll be allowed to attend the birth of my daughter come mid-Feb. I barely managed to attend the 12-week scan. Our hospital only relaxed the rules to let me back in 3 days before.
Shouldn't this number be higher?
People aren't following social distancing guidelines. Nationally, we had one of the longest lockdowns in the world and loads of people are out on the street. Schools are still open and people are still meeting up. There aren't any social consequences for not social distancing and more for social distancing.
And we're back to the tiered system come December 3, which went so swimmingly the first time and didn't cause this second lockdown and 20,000 infections per day and 500 deaths on average. Christmas is gonna be a blast too, can't wait for third lockdown come January.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.